This week, I had an honor to participate in an interfaith panel discussion on how different faiths responded to the coronavirus pandemic. It was organized by the UK TV, a British multi-channel broadcaster. I don't think, or rather I'm not sure whether it was broadcasted anywhere, but it had many people on Zoom. I was joined by representatives of Christian, Muslim and Hindu communities. One of the questions was about how our communities coped with the rapid change which we all faced in March, and in a way facing still. I have to say that I found myself in a very unusual position. Usually I am the youngest in the room. I'm used to see people surprised when they learn that I am a rabbi. I don't fit very well to a stereotypical image of a rabbinic elder. My beard is not long and grey enough, and I don't wear a black hat. But this time I found myself being one of the oldest among panelists. It was also the first event when I had a chance to quote Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton. In one of the songs in his famous musical, the lyrics are, "Life or death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints, and it takes and it takes and it takes." And it was a relevant quote to demonstrate that in a way, all of us are in the same boat today. It was a Christian representative who brought up a topic of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem and compared it to the coronavirus crisis in terms of the impact it made in our society. The political conflict between the Roman Empire and Judea, entangled with and escalated by ideological struggles, led to the destruction of the temple and 2,000 years of Jewish exile. At that time, Jewish leaders had to rethink their Judaism. The shift from temple to rabbinic Judaism happened not because people wanted it, but because the history made a turn and the circumstances did not allow the old Judaism to continue. Jewish worship during the temple was structured around the temple in Jerusalem. The key festivals were Pesach, Sukkot and Shavuot, when people were required to make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem and make sacrifices. After the destruction, Rabbinic Judaism had to create new forms of worship, new rituals, and rethink Jewish festivals. Looking at that time from our perspective, we can certainly say that the destruction led to evolution. The crisis of the temple Judaism led to the development of everything we consider beautiful and wise in Judaism today. Our synagogues replaced the temple. Prayer replaced animal sacrifices. Rabbis replaced priests in their role of Jewish intellectual and spiritual leaders. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Hebrew month Av, is the day when, according to the Hebrew Bible and its later interpretations, both the first and the second temple was destroyed. Today is the 3rd of the month Av. This year, Tisha B'Av will fall on Wednesday night, the 29th of July, the night of 29th of July, and the 30th of July will be full Tisha B'Av. Traditionally on that day, it is a custom to fast, read the Book of Lamentations, and to restrain from any kind of joyous activities. What does this day mean for us, modern Jews? We have long been praying and not making animal sacrifices. We have long replaced at the temple with the synagogue. We have long been practicing rabbinic Judaism and not the temple Judaism. What does the day of the destruction of the temple have to do with us? Shall we, modern Jews, not fast on Tisha B'Av? I believe that early Talmudic scholars asked themselves the same question. Remember that they were those who, in a way, invented the new Judaism, and they were opposed Temple Judaism. Similar to us, they tried to make sense of their time. Like us, they felt the loss of the familiar way of living, but at the same time saw a possibility for a better, improved world in the future. Like many of us today, they tried to understand why it happened to them and why they deserved to go through such difficult times, the times of crisis and change. Talmud has records of such reflections of early rabbis. Why was the first temple destroyed? They asked. Because of three things which prevailed there: idolatry, immorality, and bloodshed. But then they asked, but why was the second temple destroyed, seeing that in its time people were occupying themselves with Torah, mitzvot, commandments, and the practice of charity? And the answer which rabbis offered is the following: because therein prevailed sinat chinam, hatred without cause. For us, reading this passage today, it may seem naive to find only one reason for all your misfortunes, but I think there is more to it than a simplistic understanding of history. Instead of blaming others, they used the crisis to rethink their own behavior and build a strong foundation for ethical understanding of life. It is not about something we did or did not do in the past. It is about what we do and don't do today. In the book of Prophets, Isaiah expresses a similar idea, but with a much stronger message. Isaiah says on behalf of God, "Is such the fast I desire, a day for people to starve their bodies? Is it bowing the head like a bulrush and lying in sackcloth and ashes? Do you call that a fast, a day when the Eternal One is favorable? No, this is the fast I desire, to unlock fetters of wickedness, to untie the cords of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, to destroy every yoke. It is to share your bread with the hungry, and to take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, to clothe him, and not to ignore your own kin. Then shall your light burst through like the dawn, and your healing spring up quickly." Usually, Tisha B'Av does not attract many people in our synagogue. Well, not least because it falls on the summer holiday. This year, it might change. This year, Tisha B'Av cannot be more relevant. It is not about fasting and restraining from joy. It is about reflecting on the loss and dreaming of a better future. It doesn't matter how many hours you fast. It is about how many people you helped. Because life does not discriminate between the sinners and the saints. Shabbat shalom.